Hello there and welcome to my very first YouTube video. I am not really experienced at this. As you can see, I just found a wall with decent light and here we go. Forgive me if this is not like professional quality, but I wanted to document my journey to the stage in a more official format than Instagram stories. First of all, because this is I can talk a little bit longer and get more detail. I also wanted to chronicle this journey because I have a lot of clients who want to lose weight and they seem to think that it's this really complicated, out of reach concept that's, not accessible to them. And it's really not. Honestly, weight loss is not that complicated. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. You will need to make sacrifices and it's going to be rough if you're getting really lean, if you're losing a lot of weight, but complicated, it is not. So I want to take some of the mystique out of that for you, give you some really just simple, solid strategies that you can use and follow, and I hope that you are successful. So right now I am a week out from starting my diet, which means that I am in preparation mode. I am making my Excel sheets, I'm taking before pictures, I'm taking measurements, and most importantly, I am tracking my food. So if you follow me on social media, you know that I don't really track my food during the off season. I know there's gonna be a lot of people shaking their heads going, yeah, you should track. It's just not my thing. Having said that, every once in a while, I do check in on myself. So maybe for a couple of days a week, every couple of months, I'll just log all my food and make sure that I'm close to where I think I am. Because even if you've been doing this for 10 years or more, you probably have a good idea of where you're sitting at for calories and for macros, but you never really know until you get that scale out and you start measuring things and you start keeping track of all your food. So that should tell you something right there, that somebody who has done this diet thing many, many times over the course of 10 years is tracking her food. So if you think that you, as a non-dieting expert, can just get away with not tracking, you're wrong. You need to track. You need to know what your starting point is. So think of it this way. If you start your diet at 1,500 calories, and let's say 1,500 because that seems to be the average starting point for diets. I have no idea why, but that's what it is. Now, if you're someone who usually eats 900 calories a day, and that happens, there are lots of people who eat 900 or fewer calories per day, and you start dieting at 1,500 calories, you're going to gain weight. You're not going to lose weight, you're going to gain weight. If, on the other hand, you're someone who usually eats 2,400 calories and you start your diet at 1,500, you're going to be in a huge deficit. And that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt your metabolism. That's going to hurt your whole way of life because 1,900 or 1,000 calorie deficit is massive. So, okay, those are the two extreme ends. Let's say you're actually somewhere closer to 1,400 calories and you start at 1,500 calories. That's still a 100 calorie difference and you will still over the course of time gain weight, maybe a little bit slower because you're closer, but you will gain. If you're actually closer to 2,000 calories or 1,900, well then that's actually a pretty good range for you to start your diet at. So you need to track. Those little things make a difference. It makes the difference between starting your cut at 1,800 calories or 1,700 calories. And that might not seem like a really big deal, but trust me, when you're hungry, when you're in the midst of prep and you're hungry and you're looking for something and you have another 100 calories to play with, oh my God, that's everything. On the other hand, 100 calories less can be really hard. So I'll go into more detail about how to set your starting point in next week's series. But for right now, all you need to know is you have to track as meticulously as possible. And I'm talking about every single gram of every single piece of food that you eat needs to be measured. You want to get as close as possible. What you're going to need is some measuring cups, some measuring spoons, and a food scale. You cannot go without a food scale because a lot of foods are in MyFitnessPal or your My Macros Plus as grams or ounces, and that doesn't really equate to cups. So you got to invest in the food scale. I'm sorry. So what this looks like is that you are going to make your food just like you usually do, and go and measure retroactively. You don't want this to become like a dieting thing where you're trying to manipulate your food to fit into their macros, whatever. You just want to get an accurate view of what you're actually eating. So make your regular food and measure it as you go. Enter it into MyFitnessPal, My Macros Plus, into a food journal, however you do it, and then tally at the end of the day. You want to keep track of your calories, your protein, fats, carbohydrates, fiber, and sugar. Track for at least 4 or 5 days. That'll give you a decent average, and one of those days should be a weekend day, because we all know you don't eat the same on the weekends like you do on the weekdays. So you really want a full view of the entire week and what you're eating on average during a whole week. Just try to look at this as information only, okay? No judgment, this is information. Everything that we gather here is gonna help us get better later, all right? Do not judge yourself. I think that's all I need to cover. Thinking back, I probably should have made a couple notes about what to say and then just like read them as I go. It's my first time, guys. I'm sorry. If I missed anything, I'll put them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to get started on this, and I'm excited for you to see how simple this actually can be and to finally get some results.